Hello. If you clicked on this video, you must have finished Witch from Mercury, 00, Wing, or even G. Or perhaps you've never seen a Gundam before and you want to get into the franchise. Well, you're in luck, because this is not only one of my all-time favorites, but also the starting point of getting into Gundam as a whole. There are other starting points you can go from, but I would like to focus on the most practical one. The original Mobile Suit Gundam, made in 1979. It's not only the first Gundam series ever, but it would give an understanding of the humble beginnings of the franchise. That, and it's a darn good show. I hold this show near and dear to my heart, so I want to share it with the world as well. I know that people have been intimidated by getting into this one because of how old and long it is. But if I can help break the ice down, it could finally give you, the viewer, a push to finally get into Gundam. So, with all that being said, in the start of the in-universe year of 0079, the Principality of Zeon took independence against the Earth Federation, which coined the term the One-Year War. It shows the impact towards the youth when their colony got canned by the Zeon forces, leading into many tragedies along the line. Both sides used tools of war, such as mechas, airships, tanks, gunners, and the science behind newtypes. I want to break down what I think makes 0079 such a worthy show to watch. Let's talk characters. The show primarily focuses on the White Base, which is the ship that holds all of our main characters. Amuro, Bright Noah, Frau Bo, Sailor Mass, and so on. There are some other notable ones, plus civilians for the early parts of the series as well. I think one of my favorite aspects of the White Base is that you have those that are willing to put themselves into combat, that represent the youth in conflict, not always in favor of authority, burnt out, but still willing to survive. You also have the civilians that have nothing to do with the war, but it was because their homeland got destroyed. They don't have much of a choice but to tag along with the White Base. And even if Bright Noah or any of the humane Zeon forces try to remedy any of the tragedies, people end up dying to gunfire or lose homes and families due to the One-Year War. I can go on about every character I find interesting, but I have to get to probably one of the most important antagonists of the show, Char Aznable. He's my favorite character of the show. He may be Zeon's best guy, but he always has his own motives and lurks within Zeon. There's also a lot of built-up tension between him and Amuro, which has become one of the most iconic rivalries of all of anime. While he may be cruel and a lot of times he's kind of an asshole, he does show a more caring side of him towards Lala Soon, who doesn't show up until much later. This gives him a level of complexity that I grow to appreciate over time. But I think what makes Char so great is his cynical outlook on the war, and is a vengeful person. I also would like to add the more fun side of the Zeon forces, because much like the Federation force, they're just a bunch of guys at the end of the day. They're soldiers that have orders to follow, and they see each other as enemies. Therefore, they must fight. Whenever I hear the phrase, unlike most mecha shows, X show is about the characters, it shows a lack of understanding of what these mecha shows could really do. These are real human stories, and each harsh moment has a severe impact on everyone surrounding it. I love Gundam's narrative of dealing with character drama because you connect with the characters throughout the journey on the White Base. Even the characters in the Zeon faction show a sense of pride and worth to their higher-ups. To me, that adds a multitude of layers to an already excellent cast. Now let's talk mecha. While it may not look like the mechas you see today, the mechas in the first Gundam aim towards representing a more practical and grounded nature. The main mecha itself is known as the RX-78-2 Gundam. which represents a look of a samurai and uses techniques of one. The mechanical designer of Gundam, Kunio Okawara, gave it a surprisingly complex interior and exterior, referring back to real machines and a great understanding on how it functions, while using color combinations that reflect Amuro himself. I could talk about the Gundam all day, but I also want to get into the other mechas of the show. The mechas are more so an extension of the soldiers themselves, while also showing the scale on how huge and much bigger the issues of war are. I love that the white base heavily relies on the three big mechas, such as the Gundam, gun cannon, and gun tank. Even though the Zeon forces are trained, experienced, and have plenty of resources, it is incredibly endearing to see that the white base is able to push through all the hardships and tragedies each episode through their flagship mechas, while improving their skills over the course of the anime. While I did want to make a point about this show caring about its character dynamic just as much as any other anime, the mechas still play a major role in the show. If anything, the mechas give war its weight by seeing how much destruction is caused in Side 7 alone, where one explosion that we are so used to when watching any other anime rip a hole that could kill civilians by sucking them out into space. It only exemplifies the show's point about war so beautifully that I can hardly imagine Gundam stripping away the mechas. After all, Mobile Suit Gundam is the title of the show. I do want to talk about the new types briefly, since they bring it up in the endgame of the show. It's so cool to see Amuro use his psychic and telepathy powers in order to predict the next enemy move while also communicating with other characters down the line. This is definitely one of the coolest parts of the show because it ties in with its themes and thesis on war. We can either use it as a way to seek power and destroy, or we could use it to better understand and communicate with each other. In order to better understand the new types, it would be best to watch this show yourself. So, how to watch it? Well, there are two ways to watch it: the 43 episode TV show and a trilogy of compilation films. The three movies called Mobile Suit Gundam 1, Mobile Suit Gundam 2, Soldiers of Sorrow, and Mobile Suit Gundam 3, Encounters in Space. Many people would usually recommend the movies, but the best way to watch the original Mobile Suit Gundam, in my opinion, is the TV series. While, yeah, it may be slower and the animation can get stiff, it has some really well animated sections with the Gundam fights that more than make up for it. There is a lot of freedom and breathing room that the show is able to convey much better than with that amount of time in comparison to the movies. I honestly think if you're going to get into the franchise long term, you might as well watch 43 episodes of Gundam, but the movies are worth watching. It's best to see them afterwards or as a refresher if you haven't seen the series in a long while. Now I know what you're thinking. Why am I recommending the original Mobile Suit Gundam? You'd think for the first series in the franchise, it would be a no-brainer starting point, right? Well, unfortunately, with a bunch of Gundam series out there to pick from, it can get pretty muddled and hard to find this one in particular. Detractors of the series would also like to call it old and boring, which doesn't help when I'm trying to show my love for the show, and that's the connotation people have with the series. There's also the stupid discourse surrounding whichever format is better. It's also hard when it comes to accessibility, with Netflix taking down the movies and never having the TV show on their platform at all. It sadly has a barrier that keeps people away from Gundam, but I hope to make way for this show to hopefully catch your interest and see the show for what it really is. The show means a lot to me. Sure, I like other mecha shows more, but that doesn't make 0079 a worse show either. The original Mobile Suit Gundam is not a show that is somehow just in the way of getting into other shows. It's a meaningful journey that stands on its own, but it allows you to branch out for more when you want to.